go.
Hey, this is Ken Casey from the Dropkick Murphys, and I love the Grandstanders! Take it away, kid!
Edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, and Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get started. Of course, we have to thank our great sponsor, Dante's Pizzeria, 415 Harvard Street in Brookline, Mass. And, of course, say hello to our favorite friend, David, when you go on in. All right, boys. Well, J.D. Martinez has finally arrived. I mentioned before that it was kind of like, is this going to happen? Does it really matter? But when it finally happened, it was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for 6 months they needed to replace 40 home runs in their lineup, and they got the one guy who was a free agent this year capable of hitting 30, 40 home runs.
Right, and they start doing the stats, Joe, and it's very comparable to Giancarlo Stanton. I mean,
yes, very remarkable. Very close, but, the proof is in the pudding. Let's see how he does.
But look, they spent money, and it's not your money. It's not your money.
No.
So I don't care about the salary cap.
Nope.
I don't care about them going over any luxury tax.
None of that.
I want the Boston Red Sox to get the best players they can field each year, right?
That's right. And the idea that they were somehow going to magically, produce 30, 40 more home runs from that lineup, right? Hoping that Hanley hits 10 more and that Mookie hits 10 more. It was not going to happen. They had to do this. They did what they had to do this offseason.
Yeah, get the player that you can. Don't worry about the Bryce Harpers, the Machados. Right.
A, they may never get to free agency.
Right.
And then once they get to free agency, 31 other teams are going to be shooting for them.
Bidding against you.
That's right.
And they were able to get a good price for Martinez.
Yes, they were, comparatively.
Seems pretty reasonable, considering that you thought you were going to have to spend $25 to $30 million a year for 5 years, at least, when the offseason started.
And so this is not a Pablo Sandoval move, so I don't want anyone to compare him to the big fat tub of goo. Because, first of all, the issue we had with Pablo was always about that fat gut of his, right? Mm-hmm. About being out of shape. That was the most unacceptable thing about
Pablo
Sandoval.
Not being committed to the team at all.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's disgusting.
By all accounts, this guy, Martinez, is a pro's pro. He does a lot of film work. He works out hard. He's a self-made player. None of this was given to him. He's a late-blooming self-made player. This is the kind of guy we like in Boston, right? He produces. He will be loved here.
And we have right-handed power, and you can never have enough of that at Fenway Park.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what does this do for Hanley? The leash is very
Helps
short.
him out the door.
Right, absolutely. So they're not afraid by, at the very least, May 15th, if he's not producing and he's not being that clubhouse,
I think that's right.
If he's not being a clubhouse problem.
Yeah,
he's got
what, 6 weeks to produce? If that's your point, by May 15th,
he better start
producing,
hitting lefties or he's out the door.
I mean, he's in a pretty tough spot. He's not going to get those plate appearances to get that guarantee.
Oh right? No, there's not a chance.
And he's only gonna bat. He's gonna get half the at bats at first base at most.
So is he Alex Cora's biggest test early on in the season? How we play him? How he produces, and will he sit him?
No, I think getting Xander going is his biggest test.
Do you think Cora would bench Xander by May 15th?
No, I don't think so. I think they're doubling down on the Xander commitment. You're hearing a lot of excuses.
They did sign Nunez, and they do have a replacement.
Theoretically, when Pedroia comes back, they could play Nunez there, but they don't really have another. They don't have another solution for shortstop.
He's not a full-time starter.
Yeah, I think to me the messages that are coming out of camp is they're doubling down on Xander. You hear a lot. He was hit by the pitch. He was never the same. Right?
Oh, I know. They're making a lot of excuses.
They're making a lot of
Yeah.
excuses,
Yeah.
and he's come back. He's going to have a new swing angle. He's going to be more aggressive at the plate. And now, if he doesn't pan out, if he spends 2 months sort of in the doldrums, then I do agree with you that he could be a problem for Cora.
I really would like to see the whole team more aggressive at the plate. I'm sick to death
I
of
think you're
watching
gonna see it.
Pedroia look at 2 down the middle before he even gets the bat off
we
his shoulder.
never said as much a few weeks ago, where he said, this whole team is taking. Cora's basically been open about it and said we got to
Yeah.
be more aggressive early in the count.
Yeah, and they got to run bases smartly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Farrell was aggressive in a poor fashion, right?
Do whatever you want.
But let's take a look. I mean, look, I think we gave Dombrowski some grief for a while, but he signed the best hitter on the market.
Yeah, he
without
slow
giving
played
up-
that. He
right,
totally
without
slow played
and
that.
without giving up any assets.
Right.
Right. He re-signed Nunez. We liked Nunez
Yeah.
a lot last year.
Oh, absolutely.
If Pedroia comes back, great. Nunez is a super utility player. If Pedroia doesn't come back, he's a starting second baseman.
but
right.
Nunez,
I would like a 5 or 6 starter if they can get.
They got a little
besides
bit of
Doug Fister,
right. They've got a little bit of
please.
weakness there if Erod doesn't come back. And look, I don't think we're going to get a big year out of Mitchie, my boy, for last year, right? I'm
Mitchie
not
doubles?
predicting a big year, but left-handed hitter play first base decently against a bunch of right-handed pitchers. Not bad.
Yeah.
it's so funny. Mike Napoli just signed a non-roster invitee
Yeah,
Crazy, right?
to the Indians. Okay, and he made what, 10, 15,
Right.
$20 million the last few
You said
seasons.
this a couple shows ago. What a great move Moreland made by re-signing as early as he did with the Red Sox, right?
It was
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
Huge.
The greatest
He was
move.
the smartest guy in the block.
Absolutely.
His agent deserves everything because, as Tim Neverett said, Mitch Moreland is a non-roster invitee if he doesn't sign that contract.
Yeah. And then look, you go in terms of the bullpen. Bullpens are hard to build. If Smith is decent, you know what you're going to get out of Kimbrel. Kelly could be decent. Everyone's like wringing their hands about the bullpen. You never know how these guys are going to pitch.
Yeah.
Bullpens
I'd like another lefty if you can get one.
Yeah,
They're hard to come by. I know.
hard to come by.
No matter how much you follow the Boston Red Sox, when the opening day comes, you never know who's in the bullpen.
Never.
Oh,
yeah.
right. We have Carson Smith. He's
Right.
still in the team. And so who do they have in the bullpen?
Well, Tyler
Lyle Thornburg,
the
is he
dumbest
back?
human being alive.
Oh, yeah, right. Apparently, Cora was sitting there watching Thornburg throw yesterday, just in belief that he could throw.
Yeah.
So
He's
who is it?
got arms.
Who is it for everybody scoring at home? It's Carson Smith,
Yep. Joe
It's-
Kelly,
Joe Kelly.
Tyler Thornburg, if he pitches.
Yeah, I'm not banking on that.
Kimbrel.
Kimbrel. Who's the lefty?
You got Matt Barnes,
Matt
your boy,
Barnes,
Matt
yeah.
Barnes.
Oh no, God, I can't deal with him. No,
In and out,
seriously.
in and out,
No.
in and out.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Barnes. Yeah, but yeah, he's the last guy.
Is Johnson the long reliever?
Heath Embry, who pitched pretty well
Heath
last
Embry,
year.
right?
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Or I look like Peter Criss of Kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
They got rid of Fernando Abad, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah. I think
Oh,
he's-
He was
sadness.
bad. So.
yeah. No, they have a lefty. They just signed Tommy Lane, so I think they're hoping.
Oh, they
that
did?
I think they're
Okay.
hoping that he can
Better
be the
football.
lefty.
Yeah, but they have
Yeah,
Robbie
baseball
Scott,
player.
right?
And
I
Robbie
like
Scott,
Robbie.
throws hard, good lefty.
All right, so they have the same kind of guys. They
Look, the
Yeah.
bullpen's
They
gonna
did
be-
really well last.
and they can fix the bullpen if it's so. I got no problem. Look, we said if they sign Martinez, we're going to have to be happy, and this is not a bad team going into the season. I got no issue.
Look, we know how important it is to get these guys and not to lose these guys in the lineup because you can put people in positions. You can bat a Mitch Moreland in the 7th spot
That's right.
instead of the cleanup spot, and he's going to do a lot better at that spot.
Absolutely, yeah. They asked way too much out of Moreland last year.
Yeah.
Way too much. He played every day. He was their 5th hitter sometimes. They asked too much. And he couldn't sustain it for the whole year.
Okay, we can be in agreement that Mookie Betts is the best player on the Boston Red Sox.
Yes.
Okay, at the very least, positional
Yeah.
player.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So Mookie Betts, who's the best hitter, right?
Yep.
Who has the best eye on the Red Sox too, right? And puts the ball in play. Why is Mookie Betts being allowed to bat leadoff?
Tell me who's going to be a better leadoff batter than him.
No, but it doesn't even matter. Why isn't Mookie Betts the third
I'd
batter
like
in
him
the
batting
lineup?
3rd or 5th myself. because he could drive in a lot more runs.
I think the issue though is you got several guys who can occupy those middle spots in the order. Tell me who you would have bat leadoff instead of Mookie Betts.
Well, to that point though, Vasquez had a great OPS last year. He was getting on base for Mookie to drive in batting.
You can have Benintendi lead off, and it's not a problem there.
So who's going to bat second?
What's it? Oh, I mean, you can get whoever's playing second base.
Is that
Pedroia, Nunez, whoever's playing second base.
I don't feel strongly about this. My point is, I don't think it's outrageous that Mookie Betts bats first. He's the fastest player on the team.
Eight and 9 hitter that's getting on base. It's almost like he's batting third once you go through the.
He's going to get more at bats.
Look, Mookie Betts is batting first because Mookie Betts wants to bat first.
I don't know where you're getting that from. Like, what evidence do we?
Well, that's of course he says it all the time. He likes batting leadoff. Well, who cares what he likes?
He had so many solo home runs.
Look, the day after Cora got named manager, he said Mookie Betts is batting first. Did Mookie call him up? It was the first phone call that he got and said, Skip, you're going to bat me first.
Oh, no,
right?
that was part of the interview process. Yeah, well, absolutely.
You have to do what they tell you.
What do you think they said? They said Mookie Betts is a baby. He doesn't react well if he's put anywhere but the leadoff position.
He reacted well when he was batting third.
Name one Red Sox lineup in the last 50 years that would have their best hitter batting leadoff. You can't name it.
Wade Boggs.
No.
No, but he was. Wade Boggs was one of the greatest hitters
of
a generation.
He batted leadoff. Third. He started to bat.
He batted leadoff most of his career.
No, he didn't. No, he batted third a lot of it.
No.
Yeah, he batted third.
You're
going to look that up.
Yeah.
No, but Wade Boggs was a totally different player. Wade Boggs was a singles hitter and an on-base machine. We're talking about
he got
Mookie
a lot
Betts
of walks.
He should be a 30-120 guy.
Should be. Look. He may end up batting third. Who knows what's going to happen throughout the year? But if he wants to bat him first for a couple of weeks and see if that lineup, and then if that lineup doesn't work, he'll switch some guys around.
Because that's what they
He's
did
not
his
committing to a
MVP
whole
type year there. He was batting leadoff, and then they switched him to third for the second half of the year. He didn't kick about it.
Oh, you see Mike Trout leading off?
Yeah, but they're different. They are different
Mookie
hitters.
Mookie Betts thinks that he's in the
Why do you hate Mookie?
No, I don't hate.
No, like you
I
hate
don't like
Mookie.
Betts'
You're like
attitude.
you.
No,
He's getting the Tom Brady treatment now.
No, I think Mookie Betts is a problem.
I'm on Joe. I don't know about you. I'm on Team Mookie.
Yeah, Team Mookie.
I'm on Team
No,
Mookie.
I think Mookie Betts is a problem in the clubhouse. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think he is.
He's on Team Hanley
Mookie gets
now.
whatever he wants, and then Mookie creates this little standard for himself. Mookie meets his little standard, right? He meets his standard for the year, and then he's all set.
We've hit the crazy talk stage
Nope.
of the show. That didn't take you long. We're 5 minutes in talking about how
spring training yet.
Mookie Betts is a problem in the clubhouse.
Mookie Betts, look, because Mookie Betts is a star, and he sets the tone. The clubhouse was
No, the
terrible
clubhouse-
last year.
Split squads.
And
They're on
part of-
different buses.
Scott.
What?
The problem in the clubhouse was David Price and Dustin Pedroia didn't help matters early last year. I don't think Mookie Betts was the problem in the clubhouse.
Yeah, but he wasn't the solution. Absolutely.
Okay, but
no
that's
one's
different
asking
from.
him to. We're asking him to be
No,
a
he
great
should-
right fielder.
He should take the
You
leadership
hate-
role.
No, it's okay. You hate Mookie. What's
No,
the
I
next?
don't hate
topic?
Mookie. No. See, Mookie's on my crap list right now. Yeah. I'm not the whole Mookie.
Who do you
love,
hate
like-
more, Xander Bogaerts or Mookie Betts?
Oh, I love Xander Bogaerts. I'm just no.
He's
I don't like
just
Mookie Betts.
disappointed,
No, I don't.
like-
All right,
You
I
don't
don't
like
give it- no, I
Mookie
don't really- No, I
Betts.
just no, really.
Best player on the team.
Xander's like
best
being
player on the team.
disappointed in a child.
I don't
you know?
like. I don't like guys who dictate things because of their comfort
I
level.
don't see where he dictated.
Oh my
that
God! What
move.
did you? All right, we'll move on. What do you? He says he doesn't want to do anything but bat lead off. That's inexcusable.
No, I just missed that. I guess.
I missed it too.
Oh my God! You guys can't see it.
We
Open your
we
eyes.
don't keep up with the news.
All right, Rick Porcello, he's making like $23 million
Yeah.
a year, right? He absolutely phoned it in last year after having the worst
stunk.
season in the history of Major League Baseball after winning a Cy Young.
Yeah.
Was the worst pitcher in baseball. I ask you, is Rick showing up this year?
Maybe he's still going to rest on his laurels.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're right. There's nothing defensible about that year.
Yeah.
He put like 5 good starts together at one point in time. We thought, oh, Porcello's turned the corner, and he just could. He didn't get it done.
He did
I
look
think
better at the end of the year.
He's a
but
pivotal.
He really stunk
yeah,
early.
he's a pivotal guy. You're right to call him out. He's a pivotal guy on this team.
But you see body language, okay? And it didn't seem like he was all torn up when he was being taken out in the third inning.
Yeah, look, I think, in retrospect, from some of the stuff that these guys have said in spring training, Mookie and Pedroia and these guys, that Farrell was a problem last year. I think he was a bigger problem than any of us really thought. Those guys didn't want to play for him.
Well, you were right about that because you were on the get Farrell out of here bandwagon from years ago.
Look, we saw with Cassidy and Julian, we saw what moves during the season and how that can change things. We've seen it.
Well, it's hard to fire. Look,
It works well in
it
hockey.
was hard to fire that guy. It's tough to fire a baseball manager when they're in first place, and the Red Sox went basically wire to wire. So it was tough to fire him, but they made the right. Clearly, they made the right choice when guys are just basically saying there was no joy in the clubhouse. And I think guys like Porcello. He was a fighter the year before. He pitched his ass off the year before, and then something happened last year.
Well, the whole Torey Lovullo thing, and we kind of didn't really put much emphasis on it, but he ended up winning the Manager of the Year.
Yes.
When he filled in for Farrell, when Farrell was in cancer treatment, the team reacted very well to him. They should have stayed with him as manager. They should have, obviously you don't want to, fire Farrell with his condition.
But it was like a Pagano-Arians.
Yeah, but you could have thrown him upstairs, Joe.
You could have thrown him upstairs.
That's what we thought he was going to do.
You could have moved him out after their playoff loss, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
After they failed in the playoffs. You had a moment in time where you could have, and then they re-signed him within 24 hours.
And they could have put Tech as the bench coach.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But-
the manager in waiting.
I think you're right.
You're the one who carries that torch now more than I do.
I do, yeah.
Porcello is a pivotal guy. I mean, that third starter for the Red Sox this year is a pivotal player.
Pomeranz has got to have a third good year in a row.
Yeah.
He's been the most consistent pitcher they've had the last 2 years.
Oh my God! All right, so we got to talk. All right, we've been doing the Red Sox for so long, but all right, Erod's out. Stephen Wright is that a joke of all time? Is the worst millennial athlete of all time? I don't even know.
Don't even wait for him.
I don't even know why he's injured, but apparently he can't throw off the mound yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just collecting a check, right?
Well, yes.
He throws the ball 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. So he's the kind of guy that goes to Stop and Shop, and when they say there's a breakage in aisle 7, he's running over there trying to slip.
Yep.
Right? That's Stephen Wright, right?
Could be, yeah.
All right. And when he has to say, what was Stephen Wright's offseason? Well, he was just making sure that that he didn't hit his wife.
Yeah.
All right. That's what you got out of Stephen Wright.
Yeah,
That bum arm,
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have clocked it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
When a knuckleball pitcher can't pitch, it's a big problem.
pathetic.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Yeah. All right, so we got to go to the Bruins. We're going to the Bruins.
We
for
are.
the second.
Yep.
First
It's
of
not
all,
it's a grandstander first.
Yeah.
I think it's terrific.
I love stars, okay?
Yeah.
And anytime you can acquire stars, you do it. And especially you do that in hockey because those playoff games are 2-1, 3-2 games.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy who can individually score a goal to win you a playoff game or a series, that's Rick Nash, right?
He's 6'4" and 221. He's the definition of a power forward in hockey. I mean,
He's Cam Neely returned
he
to
was
us.
really outstanding. Like, I watched a lot of that game last night, and you can tell when he's on the ice.
Yeah.
You can tell it as a fan, but the other team can tell it.
Yeah.
Right? They know when Nash is on the ice. Their head's on a swivel. He's fast, and he's got soft hands. If he's playing hard, which is the only rap against him, that's a pretty big deal for these
And
guys.
the stars tend to shine brighter when the playoffs
Absolutely.
come too.
And he's a guy that he's up for a new contract. We know
Yep.
that encourages players to play well. And they didn't give up anything. They didn't give anything up tangible.
Yeah, I mean, they got so many guys in the farm system that giving up a first-round pick and
it was a
another
late first-round
defensive
pick.
and another defensive prospect is you're not going to feel that bad.
Right. So Don Sweeney had a plan. Of course, Don Sweeney from Harvard, because we have to say
There
that.
you go,
Had a
Harvard's own.
plan. We were patient enough to see it through, and the Jacobs brothers were. Jacobs
I
was
think
too.
he came quickly.
And all of a sudden now, they apparently have one of the strongest prospect systems,
Yep.
right?
Big
And
pipeline.
they could very well win a Stanley Cup.
I mean, it's great. It's a little bit like the Celtics, where they're a good enough team that you could conceive of them getting into the Stanley Cup Finals, and they haven't sacrificed anything in terms of their pipeline. They've got one of the strongest pipelines in the NHL.
Well,
We
he
should
was
be
brave
looking at-
enough and the scouting system savvy enough to draft a lot of 17, 18-year-olds.
That's right.
Yep.
Most guys are afraid. They want to hedge their bets and
Yeah.
take the surer thing, the 21, 22-year-olds.
Both Sweeney and Ainge have vexed us because a lot of us were advocating for trading the picks for star players,
Yeah.
Yeah.
along, including myself, in the same in hockey. And he had that whole those 3 picks a few years ago, and everyone panned him for not using those picks for a star. And now these guys are starting to come into the NHL.
And they were all guys. He picked all guys that wouldn't be there for 3-4 years. We thought.
That's right.
They came early.
Yeah.
And he didn't give up any. He just gave up that one defenseman, but he didn't give up
terrific.
anyone getting.
Yeah, and he's got this kid McAvoy can play some hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a hell of a move last night.
Oh yeah, he'll be an all-star in a year or two.
And Patrice
It's a lot of fun.
Bergeron, like we talk about Edelman, we always like Edelman to get hurt, kind of like game 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So he'll take the rest of
Take
the year
about 10
off.
games off, Patrice.
Yeah, then come back healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah, put that broken foot up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the second round of the playoffs, he comes back.
And broken foot's okay.
Oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not
Well,
like
didn't he have a punctured lung and a
Oh,
broken
he
rib?
got hit by
He
a
was
car for
playing-
God's
yeah.
sakes a couple years ago, and he was still playing in
Yeah.
the
The 6th game
playoffs.
against Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob Ryan came up with the top 10 greatest Boston athletes of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he put Bork at 9, but we'll go over the list at some point. But I say that Patrice Bergeron
Oh, my
is a
God.
more valuable player to the Boston Bruins than Ray Bork was. Would you agree?
It's
Oh
interesting.
no, I don't think so.
I think it's a pretty close call. It's a great comparison
Yeah.
because
You know,
they're the same
he
kind
is-
of complementary players.
And now they're at the point where I think
in their-
Bergeron's
in
14th
his
year or
career.
something.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
no. I'd say Bork was more important.
I think it's a great argument.
Yeah.
Borgeron is one of my favorite.
Bork could score just as well as Bergeron and play the blue line.
Okay, Joe, but how many Stanley Cups did Ray Bork win with the Boston Bruins?
Yep.
And how
won
many
one.
key goals did Ray Bork have in the
Oh, he had a
playoffs?
few, but
Yeah. They were much weaker teams too. He was.
I mean, the team that won the Stanley Cup was a surprise team.
And
from
then
the
remember,
Bruins.
he had to go to the Avalanche too.
Yeah, that
no,
was
I
a
think
pathetic
to
time
win.
in Boston
Bergeron's
sports.
one of my favorite Boston athletes ever. I mean, talk about a class act, a guy who plays
yeah.
the game the right way, underrated. I love watching that guy play hockey.
Never toots his own horn.
Never.
Never
Class act.
So at the very least, if the Bruins win a Stanley Cup with Patrice Bergeron on the team in the next couple of years, you'd put him over Bork at that point, right?
He's in that territory.
Yeah.
Well,
He's in that
that
territory.
great goal against Toronto there, and that
Oh my God, that
Incredible.
comeback.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Bergeron.
Yeah, he's always at the slot. Yeah, we love that guy. All right, so this whole Marcus Smart thing is making my head explode.
Yeah.
You know I hate Marcus Smart, okay? And you love him and hate him all in the same sentence
Within the
sometimes.
same breath.
Okay, so Marcus the dope, of course, he hits a wall, a frame, whatever he does.
Well, after the night when he didn't know what the score was and stepped back when they only needed 1 point to tie, and he stepped back behind the 3-point line and missed.
Yeah, so
He's
he had,
knucklehead.
Problems happen in Los Angeles, we all know. And he had a tough
Indeed.
night in Los
He had a
Angeles.
rough trip.
So,
Rondo's birthday.
but the Bruins are not, the Celtics are not the same team without Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
He comes back, and guys, by coincidence, they happen to have a
I have a
3-game
little-
winning
Well,
streak?
they aren't exactly
Yeah,
playing
but
the iron right now
you
either.
know,
Oh,
I
but
was-
they were losing
Here's
to
the
teams
thing.
before like that.
And I was at that game the other night, and I just watched him. Right, I just watched him, and he does things on a basketball court that no one else does.
Yeah.
He makes other teams crazy. He makes
us crazy.
Makes us crazy, but he creates disruption. He's a disruptive player on the court.
Brad Marchand and Green.
Yeah, a little bit, and they missed that. They did. I have egg on my face. I had written him off completely, and I sort of the determination that I had made was his offensive failings. You know, there was no amount of defense that he could play to make up for his offensive failings. And now you realize defensively, he's a pivotal player on that team.
Yeah, and we haven't really accepted as fans yet the statistic of plus minus in the NBA. Not yet. We haven't embraced it. But his plus minus is one of the best in basketball.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
we can't ignore it anymore. It's
And
not,
it's not due to his offense, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
but it's not pretty, but somehow he gets it
No,
done.
I have egg on my face. I mean, I think you just now have to accept it. It's all part of the package. The crazy plays, the bad shot. By the way, he is shooting better. But the bad shots, you just are all part of the Marcus Smart package, and you're either accepting the whole package or you see what happens when he's not on
And
the
he's
floor.
not flopping as much. It makes him a little more
Right.
likable.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well.
Just to add that in to remind
Well, he's
you,
gonna- I mean,
he's the
you would
biggest
have-
flopper in the history of the NBA.
You would assume he's going to be in his best behavior through the playoffs. He's fighting for a contract.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, so we love Trader Danny, but they need a shooter off the bench so badly. Now, he didn't make any trades, didn't trade for Evans,
Yep.
didn't trade for any guys, didn't pick up anyone from that got
Not
bought
a shooter,
out.
right? Yeah.
So Is this the team? Because
Oh yeah, I
it's
think
pretty
this is
clear
your
that
team.
Haywood now all of a sudden is
I
not
was just
coming
gonna
back.
say maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
Okay, so this is the team that
I
we're
think this is the team we're looking at.
Wow.
Next year's team's the team they're shooting.
But
for.
that's
Yeah.
all right, this team's not good enough then.
Oh no, yeah, this
No.
team's not good enough.
But we thought they were at some point. We thought if they were two pieces
Brad
away.
Stevens was right. They ran off those 16, and Brad Stevens was
22
saying,
and 4. Yeah.
we're not as good as we played, and they actually look like a very good Eastern Conference team, but
Yeah.
no more than that.
Yeah.
And I like the Greg Monroe move. I know he didn't play,
He hasn't looked good.
I think there's times I think he's got to
It
get
was
used to this
it was a
system.
good bet. It was a good bet to
Yeah,
take.
good
You had
tr-
no depth in your big men at all. Like Tice is going to be out. Sounds like he's going to be out for a few games. He's got a bum hamstring.
Right.
You would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
If you didn't have Monroe, you would have been in a lot of trouble
Yeah.
because you're just looking at Baines at that point.
And I think he's not in shape right now too. Monroe can hardly get
He's
up
been
and down
living the
court.
life in Phoenix
He sure
for
has.
6 months.
Right, but I think by playoff time that he'll be an effective guy.
Yeah.
And look, it's better than having who else coming off the bench,
Yeah, look, I think as far as that second unit goes, it's sort of as Rozier goes, so goes that second unit. And I think he's the key now because you don't have that other shooter.
Yeah. And Rozier is a must sign.
Do you think they make it to the finals?
No, I don't.
Well, they still
I
got
don't.
Rozier for another year after.
They have
that.
another year. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he's
No,
he's
No,
not
that's
injured.
Marcus.
No,
It's up.
just
Okay.
Marcus.
All right. No, I don't think they make it to the finals.
I think it's going to be really tough to get by Toronto and Cleveland, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Look, they're going to end up probably playing Philadelphia in the first round.
It's going to be a
And
hell
that's
of
a
a
tough
series.
series.
Very tough series.
I think that's the problem. I think they're going to get bloodied
Yeah.
to get to the Eastern
You
Conference
could be right.
Finals.
Well, they had trouble last year getting through Chicago. Right? If Rondo doesn't get hurt, maybe they don't get.
What's
they
remarkable is now we're feeling the Hayward absence, right?
Yes.
After the turn of the year is when we really started to feel
second
that
best
Hayward.
player isn't there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and Kyrie is like that girlfriend that, after a while, a few months and stuff, and maybe she lives with you, she's not looking as good every day.
Oh, you're crazy.
No, but no. Listen to me. I'm saying Kyrie brings it every day.
Oh, yeah.
He
No, I
still
remember
looks.
that.
Oh,
He looks great.
he's
I
like
thought
that,
you were.
No,
I thought
no,
he
no.
was dumping her.
He's that girlfriend that
Putting her in
still
top
Still
looks
looks good.
really
Yeah,
good
no,
every
absolutely.
time. It's like,
He's
wow,
terrific.
I can even watch her brush her
He is
teeth.
so good.
That's how good he is.
He is so good. Honest God, I was there the other night. He looks like he could score every time down the court if he wanted to. And
Yeah.
he tries to get other guys involved early in the
Yes,
game to
yeah.
get them going. And then at one point in time, he just says, screw it. I'm going to just take this thing over.
He plays a game for which we're not familiar.
It's
He's
so
that
totally.
freaking good.
He's really
Remember
good.
when he first came into the league and he just didn't like Cleveland, and there were all those rumors of him coming to Boston way
Yeah,
back
for
then?
Rondo. It was going to be Rondo for Kyrie.
But I never saw anyone kill the Celtics more than Kyrie would
was
in
brutal.
quarters.
Yeah.
And you just, it was like he had a string on the
Great.
ball.
It was such a great trade. We're blessed to have him.
Oh
we
my
really
God!
are.
All right, so is it vacation week for Joe? Because it's scouting combine
No,
time.
not anymore. I used to always take this week off.
Uncle
Joe!
Joe
I
is.
love the combine. It's not. I don't care about the times and that. I just like listening to the guys would just talk football,
Yeah.
and ignore what was happening out there in the.
So that's
the
why it
combine,
wasn't.
yeah.
You weren't paying attention to the.
Combine,
the-
if
to the
someone did
times.
something outstanding like ran a 4.2, you'd stand
We
up
should have
and take notice.
scrounged up some money to send Joe
I
to the
know,
combine.
we should have sent
We
Joe
gotta
to
get a
Indianapolis.
next year. We gotta get a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
We give Joe a unit,
to
a
Indy.
mic,
Yeah,
and
right.
send him out to
Oh,
Indianapolis.
a stopwatch.
And a stopwatch and
right.
a visor.
yeah,
I'll
exactly.
try to sit next to Bill Belichick. He's always all by himself in the stands.
We got to get a sponsor for that.
Yeah,
Joe
we'll give him an
deserves to go to the
XFL
combine.
t-shirt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He hate me.
an 87 on it.
Right.
Right. All right, that's what's happening next year. We're
We
putting
didn't-
Joe
anybody
in the-
wants to sponsor Joe going to the combine, please call Scott
Indianapolis,
Kerman.
right? There's got to be a cheap ticket.
Yeah, it's a cheap
in
one.
February.
Josh isn't showing his face out there. They're keeping him at home.
No, apparently they're going to have a Josh McDaniels rule or something.
Yeah, there's no one. Just Belichick just went alone. He's like, I just need to go alone.
Well, usually, the Super Bowl got in the way, but Skarnecki usually goes to the Senior Bowl and coaches so he can get a hands-on view of all the offensive linemen even before the combine.
Well, next year you're going. All right, Joe. All right, boys, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank, of course, the boys. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes. Of course, the lovely and talented Adrian, handsome Todd, and William. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of the Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. night. The elephants are in town.
Here comes the circus.